Greetings, Dr. Wolfula here to present a very important special audio presentation that your ears cannot dare unlisten to. Does that make sense? Oh, it doesn't matter. Listen to this.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie. I'm coming to you from the Pod Shack outside beautiful Bay City, Michigan. My name is Randy, and with me is the shape himself, the shape of you. His name is Tomko. What's up, sir?
I'm just trying to figure out what shape I'm in.
I mean, are you in football shape?
No, I'm in pretty rough shape right now, actually.
No.
Yes. Yeah, I've got the sniffles.
You do, but as we were discussing before I pressed record, you sound like an Eddie Vedder man. You could be singing Even Flow right now, and people would buy tickets.
Well, I could not sing it very well.
Well, you just have to mumble a bit.
Yeah, you know what? It's been working for him for 30 years. Why can't I give it a crack?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder never met an enunciation he liked.
He didn't slaughter. Yeah. So how are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I've got a fistful of Busch Lights and a hat full of opinions, so I'm ready to go.
All right.
Before we get started, though, you called attention to a photograph circulating the interwebs currently regarding the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Reboot, retcon, reimagining, And you asked my thoughts on that. First off, what are your thoughts when you saw this?
You know what? I am going to hold off on forming any kind of hard opinion because anything I really come up with that at this point isn't going to be too kind. Just looking at the track record of that franchise.
Yeah, that's fair.
There have been a handful of really fantastic movies in that series and a whole shitload of bad ones. So I'm trying not to walk into it with any expectations.
No, I want you to be judge, jury, and executioner on a movie based on two still photographs that were circulating the internet, and I want you to do it now. Be like the rest of Twitter.com.
Oh, in that case, it's going to suck.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, why release stills when they're the worst things imaginable? Why would you do this? One is a photograph of the cast they all have the worst hairdos and it looks like a parody of some sort. Mm. And the other one is a silhouette of Leatherface, completely in shadows, and he looks a little too skinny and lanky for my taste.
Leatherface has gone vegan in this movie.
My God. He's chopping up corn stalks now.
Oh, good Lord.
I know. That's a real scary thing. It's
the
scary
garden department lawnmower massacre.
Yeah. This is a scary film for all the tree huggers out there. He's going to actually use that chainsaw to chop down trees, and he found a career as a lumberjack, you see?
And he don't care if you're chained to that tree.
Nope, he don't. That'll just be a feasty stew later that day. Yes, I said feasty stew. That's what came out of my mouth. Sometimes they don't all hit. That's fine. It's okay.
Hey, I know what you were talking about. That's all that counts.
Yes.
But no, I just can't get worked up about this. This is just the latest line that they're throwing out to try to keep that franchise somewhat relative, and I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic based on the fact that it's been delayed so much, and
they've gone through more than one director.
Yeah, it's not been delayed due to the pandemic. It's been delayed due to reshoots and bad test audiences, and so we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, we will see it.
If you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, hey, we did a whole episode about that. So check that out in the archives. And currently we're wading through all the Halloween movies.
Yes, but we are coming to the surface.
Yep, Halloween ends on this podcast right here. See what I did there?
Very clever.
Yeah, I thought so. Today we're covering Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills from this year. And yeah, we're coming out of the dark era of Rob Zombie. You know, John Carpenter recently did an interview with the New York Film Academy students where he expressed his views on those movies. He said that
tells me he wasn't going to be subtle about his opinions.
He rarely is he?
No.
Yeah. John says that Rob Zombie lied about me. He said that I was very cold to him when he told me that he was going to make Halloween. Nothing could be further from the truth. I said, make it your own movie, man. This is yours now. Don't worry about me. I was incredibly supportive. Why that piece of shit lied, I don't know. He had no reason to. Why did he do it? So frankly, that will color my response to the film. If I take that away, I thought that he took away the mystique of the story by explaining too much about Michael Myers. I don't care about that. He's supposed to be a force of nature. He's supposed to be almost supernatural. And he was too big. It wasn't normal.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think if you take away a lot of the mystery, it just kind of loses a lot of the appeal. And yeah, Michael Myers is not supposed to be some gigantic wrestler in the 90s.
No. Yeah, he's supposed to be mysterious. He's supposed to be a force of nature. And he's supposed to be almost supernatural, with which both these movies really hit on the head, I would say.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I still think that there is a good movie buried somewhere in that first Rob Zombie installment. If it had been any other franchise, or if it had been his own franchise besides another Michael Myers movie, it had potential, but it was all squandered.
I'll let you panhandle for that gold, sir. Good luck to you.
It's in there. You just got to dig it. Oh, it's in there.
Mm-hmm. Before Halloween 2018, another recalibration, as it was called, was due to be shot. It was going to be called Halloween Returns. And it was supposed to reintroduce everybody to Michael Myers. And it would take Halloween and Halloween 2 as canon. And, you know, it would have been set in 1988 and involved Michael Myers escaping execution from a power surge that, you know, mysteriously happens in the electric chair there. So he escapes and goes on a rampage and blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen, though. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's just more of the same that they had for the Halloween H2O series, you know?
Mm-hmm. John Carpenter signed on to executive produce a new Halloween movie in 2016, and he said, 38 years after the original Halloween, I'm going to help to try to make the 10th sequel the scariest of them all. He said, I talked about the Halloweens for a long time, the sequels. I haven't even seen all of them, but it finally occurred to me, well, if I'm just flapping my gums here, why don't I try to make it as good as I can? So, you know, stop throwing rocks from the sidelines and get in there and try to do something positive. So, there we go.
Here. You know?
So, the rights were acquired by Blumhouse and eventually landed in the lap of David Gordon Green, who co-wrote and directed the movie, along with Danny McBride.
Which, at first glance, seems really like a weird combination.
Yes. Yeah, that's putting it mildly, yeah.
And I wasn't really sure what to think about those two creators tackling this franchise until I actually had a chance to watch it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized what it was they were getting at with that first 2018 movie. You know, it's a movie that is all about subtext.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's face it. The point of the movie isn't Michael Myers going through and acting like a kill crazy murder machine. It's all about PTSD and the effects that it has on individuals and those around them.
Yeah.
Which if you watch a lot of their work together, whether it's the Righteous Gemstones or Eastbound and Down, it's not that far out of their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
They have gross out comedies that actually have substance to them. Why not do the same thing with a slasher movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought that first one worked like gangbusters.
I agree.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the best sequel.
Ooh.
The 2018 Halloween, I would say it's the best. And it's not perfect.
No.
But I thought it was really, really well handled.
No, I think I agree with you. It's probably the best sequel. Early on, believe it or not, the script actually had Laurie's daughter, Jamie Lloyd, in the movie to appear aside Laurie Strode. But in rewrites, they changed her name to Karen instead. So,
yeah, I was talking to a buddy who listens to the show, Mr. Swanson.
Yeah.
And I was kind of lamenting the fact that they couldn't figure out a way to bring Josh Hartnett's character into this.
Yeah, that would have been cool too.
I don't know how they would have done it and had it made sense, but I wanted to see what happened to that character.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Like I talked about a few episodes ago, there was plans for his character to come back at one point and star in a revenge movie, basically, to attack Michael Myers after he murdered Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection. But that never happened, and it's kind of a shame, really.
Well, I mean, even so, if you can have 3 different Laurie Strodes in this franchise, continuity-wise, why can't you bring in some of the other characters?
Yeah.
And actually, that's one of the things that, not to get too far ahead, that's one of the great things I think that they did in Halloween Kills.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, what do you think that they got right in at least that first movie that all of those other sequels just couldn't figure out?
I think they got the mystique of Michael Myers right.
Mm-hmm.
The theme of like PTSD really rings true, and like Laurie Strode is an absolute mess and has been pretty much ever since that night Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, she's been trying to survive. She's a survivalist. She's been training in all sorts of self-defense, and she basically turns her home into a Home Alone style trap.
Yeah.
Just in case Michael ever comes back, which she knows he's going to somehow. She's just got this.
Instead of Kevin McAllister, you have the Viet Cong laying booby tracks.
Yeah. And she's so shell-shocked by this incident. She even trains her daughter how to be a badass too and handle herself. And her daughter's kind of grown out of it and kind of thinks her mom's just a crazy kook. And I mean, it's funny to me how they kind of pick elements from all the other previous sequels, like that plot line of Laurie Strode kind of being a survivalist came from Halloween H2O, and
oh, absolutely.
She warned the Josh Hartnett character, her son, that this was going to happen. She's a little bit overprotective, not to this extreme she is in this one, of course, but it's there.
You could see that version of Laurie growing into this version, though.
Mm-hmm.
At least I could.
Yeah. The tone is just right. They get the tone right. They have likable younger characters. The mask looks amazing in this one.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. It's probably the best one since Halloween 2, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the one in Halloween, the Rob Zombie one, when it's all eaten away and he puts it on. But this one, it's really...
It just looks right.
Yeah, it looks right. I mean, some of those sequels, it's like they took... It looks like his mask looks like a lady that had 2 months of plastic surgery and drew on her eyebrows. And you're like,
yes.
That's not scary at all. That's stupid.
It looks like a mannequin. That doesn't look like William Shatner.
Yeah. And in this one, too, he's basically an unstoppable shark on legs. He just exists to mow a path of destruction. And make it to his target.
But I would also say that the 2018 film definitely went out of its way to humanize Michael.
Yeah.
They flat out said he's just a human. He's not the boogeyman. He's not a monster. He is just a very strong, very crazy, very violent human being. Which I thought, I mean, I like the idea of his character being grounded.
He's sort of grounded, but when those true crime podcasters, because of course you have to have podcasters, go to that hospital to land an exclusive interview with Michael Myers, and of course they bring the mask that Michael wore in 1978 to show him, and Michael just stands there the whole time, but the rest of the inmates seem to respond to some unseen dog whistle and go absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, I'm glad you took a second to make fun of the podcasters, because my OCD was definitely going into overdrive when they were in the car recording.
Right.
Because I have that same recorder, and I guarantee you all their audio sounds like shit.
Yeah, I mean, we used to do that in Miserable Retail Slave occasionally, and it took us a long time to perfect the use of that recorder. And even then, with the right microphones, it still sounds.
I was gonna say
trash.
You have to have some kind of external microphone as opposed to just kind of pointing the recorder.
Oh,
back
absolutely! All you're gonna hear is car noises and bumps. You're not gonna hear
Mm-hmm.
anything else.
Yep.
Yeah, but I feel like this scene foreshadows kind of the chaos that Michael unwittingly spreads like a virus in Halloween Kills, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So this one takes place 40 years after the fact, and it ignores everything else other than the original Halloween.
Which I think is a smart move.
Probably so. Like I said, Laurie's a mess. She's an alcoholic. She lost, the state took away her daughter at the age of 12. Her granddaughter, though, still looks up to her for some reason and really wants to have a relationship with her grandmother.
Probably because, mom says no.
Yeah.
And there's no way to make a kid want to do something more than if you tell them that they can't.
You know how those teens are.
Goddamn kids.
I know. I would say this movie is one of the most violent ones as well.
Oh, easily.
There's
that and the gore is just perfect.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. There's a lot of impressive gore here, just a lot. Mm-hmm. I also like the little subplot of Michael's psychiatrist in this movie, who was a former student of Dr. Loomis, and he is almost what you always thought Dr. Loomis could become. He becomes so obsessed with Michael Myers that he wants to be Michael Myers a little bit. So he actually...
Yeah, if Loomis was fascinated by Michael instead of repulsed.
Yes. And so he actually at one point kills somebody and tries on Michael's mask, which is an interesting take, I guess.
Goofy as fuck.
Very much so, yeah.
Just seeing the guy in a cop's jacket and then, arm sling wearing Michael Myers' mask kind of reminded me of a little kid trying on dad's work boots.
What about you? What works for you in this one?
I like the fact that when you think about it, it's all random. Every other film, except for the original, he was specifically going after family members. He was targeting them.
Yeah.
In this movie, no, he's not targeting anybody. He is basically killing random people that just happen to cross his path. Or, he'll walk past certain others and there's no reason or rhyme to it. I really enjoy the fact that I think this struck the right tone when it came to Michael Myers as a force of nature. It's kind of like a tornado will tear through a town, but then it'll zig and miss just some random building and then go right back on its path.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because in this one, Laurie Strode is not, Michael Myers isn't her brother, and he's not looking to go after her. He's not mysteriously drawn to her. The wacky psychiatrist kind of drops him off at her doorstep to for some sort of psychiatric experiment to see just what would happen. So I mean,
I also like the fact that Lori is convinced otherwise.
Right.
She is absolutely positive that he's targeting her.
Yeah.
Turns out, nope.
No, not at all.
She was just in the wrong spot, wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. As far as tone and stuff, other than the original, this one gets it right.
No, absolutely. There were some things that I didn't care for. Like, I can't remember the character's name, Judy Greer's husband in this movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's worthless in this movie.
Yeah. You could have had him completely written out of this movie and you wouldn't have noticed one beat missing.
Yeah, absolutely. He could have just, left because he was tired of the crazy mother-in-law or something, you know, because basically having him as a character served no purpose.
That, and there are other things in this movie that it's like, I don't need a 5-minute scene detailing the lunch that each cop is bringing, to work.
Right.
Where one's just a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the other one is this intricate Vietnamese version of a sandwich that added nothing other than maybe humanizing the victims a little bit, which, okay, I can appreciate that, but still, it just didn't feel necessary. And as funny as that little kid who was being watched over by the babysitter was, he stole the movie.
Yes.
To me, it just felt out of place.
It felt completely out of place. It was almost like that kid belonged in like Kindergarten Cop or something. It was really out of left field, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of oh god, like a Seth Rogen movie would be a perfect vehicle for him.
Yeah, he could be in Superbad too, and I'd believe.
There you go. I would watch the hell out of that kid in that movie.
James Jude Courtney played Michael Myers in this movie. You actually,
as well as Nick Castle.
Yeah, and actually, if you're interested, you can go over to the Epic Film Guys podcast, and Justin of Epic Film Guys did an interview with James Jude Courtney around the time this movie came out.
Oh, amazing!
So you can listen to that if you so desire. But yeah, Nick Castle is in this movie for a few scenes, and he also provides the Michael Myers breathing. So.
And I guess he's only actually in one shot in full costume.
Yeah, he appears in a reflection in the window or something. That's about it.
Yeah, the rest of it was James Jude Courtney.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hate to keep heaping praise on this movie, but I'd say that's probably the best Michael Myers since the original.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, he's certainly got a personality to his movements and gestures.
Now, another criticism that I'm going to level at this, I don't even want to say this movie, but just this iteration of the franchise. I enjoyed that 2018 movie so much that I was really disappointed when I found out there were going to be sequels.
Yeah. I mean,
because they could have ended it right there and it would have been perfect.
Yeah. Originally it was just going to be this. They were taking a wait and see kind of approach to see if it would even perform. Of course it did.
And boy, did it.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah. I think it made $255 million.
Yeah. On like a $30 million budget or some ridiculously small number.
$255 million on a $10 million budget. So of course the sequel's getting made for that. Yeah, in this one, Laurie traps him in her super death trap house in the basement, and it's on fire, and you think that's going to be it.
And it should have been.
It should have been.
Let's face it. If 10 years of The Walking Dead has taught me anything, it's that you got to have an ending in mind when you start your story.
Right. Talk about a show that's jumped a shark 5 times.
Numerous times. Yeah.
Yeah. That shows That show became unwatchable for me, anyways, and I've never looked back.
No. I was talking with a friend who's still holding in there to the bitter end, and I got to tip my hat to him. I haven't watched it in, God, at least 5 years.
Yeah, God bless him, because, yeah.
Hmm.
But of course, Halloween Kills comes, and it comes out this year. And straight to streaming. Thank you, pandemic.
And they actually announced that, it seemed like at the very last second, because I didn't have any idea that it was going to be on streaming until my wife sent me a text.
Yeah, I think they were definitely taking a wait and see approach to see how the pandemic was going along and if it was going to make any money here or if they were just going to bite the bullet and pop it on streaming. Well,
which, you know what? I got to give them credit. I don't know if I'd have had any interest in Peacock had it not been for this movie.
Sure. And they went with a hybrid. It did premiere in theaters and it premiered on streaming as well. So it actually grossed 131 million worldwide on a budget of 20. So it still made money. Not to mention,
good for them.
Yeah, not to mention whatever Peacock paid to stream it. I'm sure they got some cash from that. So yeah, it definitely made cash, and we're getting Halloween Ends in 2022. So we'll see.
Followed by Halloween again in 2025.
Halloween one more time.
Yeah. So this latest movie seems to be fairly divisive. Am I correct in looking at it this way?
No, that seems to be the popular opinion. And I think I hold that opinion as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a grab bag, this movie.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that they maintain the Halloween tradition that started in both the original Halloween 2 and Rob Zombie's version, where it starts right afterwards.
Yep.
Like a second after that first movie ended, it jumps right into this movie. And of course, Laurie's in the hospital.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like a spiritual sequel to the Halloween 2s.
But on the other hand, one of the reasons why I liked that 2018 movie so much was that they finally grounded the character of Michael Myers, and they completely threw that out the window with this one.
They completely took it away. Yes, he's. If it wasn't clear in the beginning, it's pretty clear after Laurie's monologue at the end that he's kind of a supernatural force of nature. Laurie says near the end, "I always thought Michael Myers was flesh and blood, just like you and me, but a mortal man cannot survive what he's lived through. The more he kills, the more he transcends into something else impossible to defeat. Fear. People are afraid. That is the true curse of Michael. He'll always be here, won't he? Even when we can't see him, you can't defeat it with brute force. If we only knew then what we know now, it is the essence of evil, the anchor that divides us. It is the terror that grows stronger when we try to hide. If they don't stop him tonight, maybe we'll find him tomorrow or next Halloween when the sun sets and someone is alone. You can't close your eyes and pretend he isn't there, because he is." That's a Dr. Loomis level monologue right there.
I was going to say, that's actually really good dialogue, but it's still stupid.
You don't like the supernatural element?
No, I really don't. That's what we have Jason Voorhees for.
Yeah, that's true. And as this monologue is going on, it's cut over top of a scene of a lynch mob that has finally cornered Michael Myers, and he's
straight out of Halloween 4.
Yep, and he's unmasked, and they're beating the living hell out of him, and they think they're winning, and he just decides, and he mows them all down.
After getting stabbed through the back of the neck.
Yep.
Severed his spinal cord right at the base of his skull.
Yep.
Not a big deal for Mike in this movie.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
But I mean, if you're going to go and bitch and moan about realism, he never would have made it out of that house at the very beginning.
Sure. So for me, whereas the last one was about PTSD, I think this one is coming to terms with grief, kind of, because there's some sort of grief counseling session at a bar, starring what's his name? Damn it.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, as Tommy Doyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tommy.
Who did a way, way better job than he had any right to be expected to do in this movie.
Tommy Doyle was one of the kids that Lori babysat in 1978. Obviously, Anthony Michael Hall wasn't that kid, but the original actor did not come back, and Paul Rudd did not come back, even though he was approached to do so. He didn't want to.
Dick.
Kyle Richards, however, came back as Lindsay Wallace, so good for her. She's also a real housewife of some rich town, so you can catch her exploits on that train wreck.
Well, actually, I mean, one of the things I really, really, really liked about this movie is it had a small town feel where everybody knows everybody else. And it didn't occur to me the first time I was watching this, but a lot of the characters that you see in this second movie already appeared in the background of the first movie, which lent itself to that small town feeling even more.
Mm-hmm. I do like the beginning scenes that take place in 1978 when it actually shows how they caught Michael.
Yes.
That was a good recreation.
Very well done.
Yeah, it was a good recreation.
Yeah, and I would say that I would go so far as to say that they outdid Disney when it came to convincingly putting a dead actor in a new movie.
Oh yeah, they. Well, and I read that wasn't even CGI that resurrected Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. That was makeup effects.
Really?
That's what I read. I don't know if I believe it or not, but
I was gonna say that looks spot on like Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, I know.
But it was what 2-3 shots, so he wasn't a main character. You didn't have time to study him forever and see all the little flaws.
Sure.
If you're gonna do that with characters portrayed by deceased actors, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So this one is like about grief and mob rules and how one idea or one man can incite a mob, basically.
Yeah. It also shows that as civilized and sophisticated as we like to think we aren't that far away from, just anarchy.
Yeah,
we really, really aren't.
Basically, at one point, the entire town turns into Michael Myers, and they go on a spree, and they don't care who's in their way because they're hunting down this serial killer, but instead they target the wrong man. And
it happens.
Yeah. And sort of murder the hell out of him. So, that's bad.
Yeah. That, and I didn't really buy the fact that the cop from the first movie survived his encounter with Michael as well as he did.
Right, yeah.
Where the doctor basically impaled him, on the throat. Not a big deal, To look at the character, you'd think he's had worse shaving cuts.
Yeah, and some dorky blue-balled teen is the one that saves his life somehow. Knows how to apply all the pressure on his cut throat to save him. Yeah, I don't think so.
And again, those are just nits that I'm, nits that I'm picking right now. That does not make it a bad movie. But there are too many things that stand out for it to really hold a light to that first 2018 movie, I think.
You know who's really not in this movie a whole lot?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, and even Michael Myers too. Like, I was shocked by the non-appearances of both.
Which
the idea of Michael Myers is in this movie, but he's not on screen a whole lot. It doesn't feel like. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't feel like he is.
Not. But when he's there, he's effective.
Mm-hmm.
That sequence at the beginning of the movie where he's making his way out of the burning house is one of the best sequences in the entire franchise, I think.
Oh, yeah, where he mows down all the cops.
Yeah, where he's just going through with a little pickaxe at first and then going to town with that saw.
Yeah.
And you could tell that there is no emotion in his actions whatsoever. It's just, he's got the same reaction as you and I would by, taking the trash can out to the side of the road.
Yeah. At this point, I'm thinking Halloween ends with Laurie dropping a nuclear warhead on top of him because I don't think anything else is taking him out.
Yeah. I am really curious to see where they pick up after this movie, which, I mean, spoilers for a 2-month-old movie, Laurie's daughter is stabbed.
Inside the old Michael Myers house, right?
Yes. Now, I'm not ready to say she's dead because that cop could survive his encounter.
Right.
But I'm not really sure what the point was of Laurie's daughter dying.
I'm not sure either, other than it's going to drive Laurie Strode further over the edge.
Yeah, especially after the conversation that she had with the sheriff, where she was convinced that, she was the cause of all this because she was the one that he was after, and no.
Yeah.
Turns out that, if she wanted, she could have easily gotten some counseling, gotten the right, combination of medications, moved out of town, and had a pretty happy life with her wife, with her daughter, and the husband of, or the father of her. But she just couldn't because
for
she
real.
was so fucked
if
up.
Haddonfield, Illinois, was the cause of this so much turmoil and pain in your life, wouldn't you move to like Montana or something? I don't know, somewhere far away.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Explain yourself, Laurie Strode.
I think she's just now beginning to grasp the idea that, yeah, she could have done that if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did read today somewhere that Halloween Ends is going to take place 4 years after this one.
It would have to.
Like, I don't know what that means, though. I don't know if they're going to explain where Michael went, whether he just vanished for 4 years for some reason.
Yeah. I have enough faith in the team behind these movies to definitely give that last movie a fair chance. As much as there were things about that second movie that I didn't like, there was enough for me to really kind of latch on to in order to keep myself interested in the franchise.
I want the opening scene of the next movie to, since you establish he's supernatural, and I just thought of this spur of the moment, I want the opening scene to show him in a hibernation cocoon that looks exactly like the Michael Myers mask, but it's a giant cocoon, and he emerges from it fully healed and stronger than ever.
I'm just picturing that scene in Empire Strikes Back where Luke's in the back to tank.
Yes. Sure. Yep. That's what I want.
Now, one thing about this movie that I thought really stood out, and I want to, definitely take time to talk about it before we gloss over it. The victims weren't exactly random, nameless victims. They weren't just fodder for the kill count. They took the time to show you their personalities and what kind of people they're like. You don't normally see that in a slasher movie.
Yeah, you're right.
To where it's like, wow, I really feel bad that person died.
You're right. You said it before. This movie definitely has a small town feel for it, and it's because they take time to sit with the citizens. And I guess that's partly why Michael and Laurie's not in it a whole lot. You spend time with all these other characters, like Tommy Doyle, whose entire life has, I mean, to a lesser extent, he's been obsessed with Michael Myers as well, but he's not full-on survivalist like Jamie Lee Curtis was.
No, he's just the guy that, has been getting free drinks for the past 40 years because of that story.
Yeah, he's got a story to tell, and he'll tell it to anyone who wants to listen or doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pardon me.
That's fine. I'm boring you. Go ahead and yawn.
No, I sneezed.
Oh, well, you sneeze like a yawn. How about that?
Oh, there you go. But no, I mean, I would go so far, now that I'm thinking about it, I would say that it's a movie that's not about Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. It's about Haddonfield.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a movie like that, it makes sense those two characters aren't as prominent.
Yeah, it's kind of about the urban legend of Michael Myers,
Mm-hmm.
which, it almost, now that we're talking about it, I almost like this movie more.
Yeah. Because I mean, I grew up in a small town, and I mean, I remember when I was in high school, there was a very popular cheerleader that got into a horrible car accident, and it seemed like that affected everybody in town. So I can imagine what an incident like Michael Myers killing three random teenagers in 1978 would have,
Oh, yeah.
what kind of an effect it would have on this town.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all anybody talked to forever and always. Talked
Hmm.
about forever and always.
Where it became, the local ghost story,
Mm-hmm.
except it happened to be real.
Yeah. There is going to be an extended version of this film titled The Extended Cut coming out on iTunes on December 14th, which is like next week and
Yeah.
time of recording.
Will it be called Halloween Kills Even More?
Just the extended cut, Tomco. You don't have to be
Oh,
so
you
sarcastic.
lazy bastards.
Yeah, and it's coming out on disc on January 11th. And David Gordon Green says this one contains more thrills, more kills, and an alternate ending. He says it's the director's cut through and through. There's an additional scene that we filmed that was scripted, and we ended up lifting it when I became more confident of where we're going to pick up in the next movie. It didn't feel authentic to where we're going to go, so we lifted it. I don't know what that means.
No, I'm not. Now, is he saying that it was a good thing that he lifted it, or he wishes that he hadn't?
It sounds like it's a good thing they lifted it, but I don't know.
So then why put it back in?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What do I know? I'm not, big time Hollywood director.
Oh, here we go. Critics have suggested this deleted scene involves Lori calling Karen shortly after her murder, spoilers, only for Michael to answer, and Lori angrily warning him based on a leaked version of the script of the film that surfaced online in early 2021. So yeah, vendetta. Laurie Strode has a vendetta and goes after that Myers.
She always did.
Yeah. I'm optimistic.
This time it's personal.
Yeah. I'm optimistic about this, I think.
I am too. I tend to shit on movies that I like, but I'm definitely all on board for Halloween Ends.
Yeah. And will it end? Probably not.
No, there's too much money to be made.
Yep. And Michael Myers is not a actor face, meaning he can be cast indefinitely.
Yep. And I'm going to say right now, my biggest hope for Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends is that they re-release that box set.
Ooh, yeah. I'd like to get that.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to get a used copy of it at a used media store, and I've been kicking myself ever since. Because that goes for just a ridiculous sum of money on eBay right now.
I bet. I bought the whole series of Friday the 13th on Blu-ray from Scream Factory.
Oh, you got that huge box set?
Yeah. I mean, they came out with the 4K stuff recently. It's not that. It's the one before that, because I found it online on sale. I think it was on Walmart for $100, which is like $60 cheaper than what it was going for.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I'm like, well, it's now or never. So I did it. I'm glad.
There you go. All right. So what are your final thoughts on the Halloween franchise, sir?
Halloween franchise has a lot more peaks than I expected. And by peaks, I'm putting it in air quotes. There's a lot of extremely watchable movies in this franchise. But when it hits those valleys, boy, it hits them hard, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's all the way at the end of the bottom of Death Valley on this franchise. I still am gonna go out on a limb and say it's still my favorite of the big franchises, though.
Okay.
Because when you have a movie that is firing on all cylinders, even if it's completely stupid, it's still a hell of a lot of fun to watch a really good Halloween movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas, I mean, as much as I like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, there was a very marked decline in quality between installments. And as much as I enjoy Friday the 13th, if you've seen one installment, you've seen them all. You can't say that about the Halloween franchise. There aren't. It doesn't have a cookie cutter feel to it.
No. Okay, so my listing here, I think, is going to be from best to worst: Halloween 2018, H2O, Halloween 4, Halloween 2.
Which one?
The original Halloween
1980 one?
Yes. Halloween 5? No. Yeah.
I was going to say Halloween Kills is definitely better than Halloween 5.
Kills is better than Halloween 5, so I'm going to put that before Halloween 5. Then 5. Then Rob Zombie's Halloween. Then Halloween 2. And then Halloween Resurrection, and then Halloween 6.
I still got it. I mean, I've never really laid it out, but I don't think my ranking would be too much different. But let's face it, the talking points are with this franchise. It's never, okay, what do you think the best one is? Because obviously it's the first one.
Right.
The talking point is always, why do you think one movie is the worst compared to all the others?
Yeah.
And I still got, I'm still not sure if my absolute worst is, Halloween 6 or if it's Resurrection. I am probably going to go with Halloween 6 because that barely holds together as an actual movie.
That's my reasoning. It's completely inept. It's so bad. So, yeah, that's my reasoning. Halloween Resurrection is awful, but at least it's got, I don't know, a storyline or plot points that could have been intriguing.
Yeah, but I mean, that movie was dated by the time it came out.
Right. Yeah.
And it did I mean, have you seen Busta Rhymes in a movie since then?
Boy, no, I don't think
that
so.
That movie destroyed a lot of careers.
Sure.
And for a while, it destroyed the slasher as a genre because you didn't see a lot of high-profile releases after that movie for a good long time.
No. Like, gosh, the slasher's been struggling to have any high-profile releases until, I would dare say, Halloween 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been some Texas Chainsaws and whatever. There's been a reboot of Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street, but
which were met with hostility at the box office.
Yes. So I dare say Halloween 2018 was the first time, and well, maybe Scream 4.
No, that movie was awful.
You think so?
Yeah, and it didn't really make any kind of waves at the box office, if I remember right.
I don't think it's awful, but okay.
I only saw it one time at the theater. That's one of those ones I'll have to revisit, I guess.
Oh, we will be next month, January, in time.
Oh, no, I have not been paying much attention to it. Uh-huh. Is it just Scream or is it Scream 5?
I think it's just Scream. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting choice.
But you know what? I'll give it a chance eventually.
But for all intents and purposes, it's Scream 5 for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and put this one to bed, sir.
Let's do it. We did it. We made it through.
Woohoo!
Bam. Welcome to December, folks. Here's your Halloween.
Happy
movie.
Halloween.
Yeah. Tell the people where they can find you on that World Wide Web.
Well, you can find me on a little show called Jake and Tom Conquer the World, in which we talk about everything that we like to geek out about, whether it's movies, comic books, television, to just random topics that we got stuck in our craw. If you want, you can find us on pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, whether it's iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, or even Amazon. You can reach out to me on Twitter at The Drunken Dork and on Facebook at Jake and Tom Conquer the Group. But Randy, where can the people find you?
You can find me on a big dumb comedy show called Miserable Retail Slave, or a Seinfeld rewatch podcast called That's a Shame. Also, you can find me on Twitter at mretailslave. And you can find me on this podcast all the time, watching all the films. The way this is going to shake out by the time you hear this, there's probably going to have been like 6 episodes in the span of, I don't know, 7 days.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be released, but I need to get on that, huh? But hopefully we're gonna have some holiday cheer, or else we're gonna be very late with the holiday cheer because we were very late with Halloween. So why not? Who cares, right?
Well, you know what? I think of this as that last, Zagnut bar that's at the, bottom of that dish that you forgot about. And it's just this lovely treat that you weren't expecting. And that makes it so much better.
Oh, I like that. That should go on our podcast blurb poster or something.
There you go.
Yeah. Next time we're covering a movie that Tomco uncovered called Black Friday.
Yes. Yes.
What can we expect with Black Friday, sir? Because I have no clue.
I've got 2 words. Bruce Campbell.
I mean, that's all you need, huh?
That's all you need.
Yeah. Other than that, there might be some more Christmas surprises. We'll see how much time we have. But hopefully you have all the time in the world to come back next week because we'll be here too. All right?
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.